Hey y'all. I know I'm a couple minutes late, but we was having some technical difficulties. So, let's get this set up. While we wait for some folks to jump on. Hey, Stephanie! Dang, I always get... Okay, but yeah. Happy Thursday, y'all. Hey, Tiara. All right, so while folks are hopping on, what I love for you guys to do is to drop your location, like what state you're in the chat feature. And then if you do have a side hustle, let me know what your side hustle is. So that way I can get an idea of some of the conversations that we need to have. Okay. Hey. All right, cool, folks are joining on. So yeah, as I was trying to set this up, I'm a couple minutes late because I was trying to do something fancy and I did not test it out beforehand. My business coach gave me some information about a service that allows you to stream to multiple places at the same time. And so I was trying to do that. And I did not realize that Facebook doesn't allow you to stream from your iPad. And so that's where I initially was. So, hey, Miss Taylor. So that's why I was a little bit late, y'all. So I do respect your time, but we was playing around with some new technology. But yeah, so hello, Miss King. All right, so we're in a lot of people in the Hampton Roads area. Okay, great. We got a clothes brand. Okay. Rich Habits clothes brand. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me personally, just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Tremaine. If we are Facebook friends and you don't actually know me, I am a financial advisor, money coach, full-time entrepreneur. I have background as a teacher. I used to be a financial specialist with an investment firm, and so I love all things money. Talking about money all day long is really what I enjoy to do. Oh, we got some event planning. Okay, cool. And so I realized that we have this side hustle culture. A lot of people on my timeline are posting about their businesses, things they do in addition to their main job. And so I was like, it might be a great idea to really just talk about, okay, how can we tell if the side hustle that we have is really good and is making us money, or if it's something that we might want to consider getting rid of because all it's doing is costing us money. So I have been side hustling probably for 12 years maybe. I started my journey as an entrepreneur braiding hair. And so that was my very first side hustle, if you will. Understanding how to run a business, promote, advertise, word of mouth, all of those great things. Maurice, hey! Was something I learned at a very young age. And so now, as I see more and more people start to jump into side hustling, some of the things you might not realize is if you have no business experience, your side hustle is your business. You have to get in the habit of telling people what you do all the time. You are your marketing. And so it might not be that, it's a terrible side hustle, but if you don't tell anybody what you're doing, you're not going to get business. So we're going to talk through some of those things today. Hello, Mr. Crone. But yeah, so I used to braid hair. I have experience in network marketing. I've done part-time gigs, worked track meets on the side to make extra money. So there's lots of different ways, lots of different avenues you can take to make part-time income, to side hustle. So there is no right or wrong answer. But if it's something that is costing you more money than what you're making, you might want to pay attention to that. So we are going to figure out how do you figure out if your side hustle is worth it, right? The very first thing you need to do is to consider, okay, how much is it costing me every month to run this gig? So if it is something where, hey, Fago, Alicia, am I going to see you this weekend? So if your side hustle is something that is not something that you're getting paid to show up and invest trade time for money. So like if you're not working for somebody else as part of your side hustle, you are probably spending money on it. So you need to figure, okay, every month, how much does it cost me to run this gig, right? If you are paying some sort of office rent, if you have to buy supplies, if you are, using gas to get to where you're going, if there's like a monthly website fee or monthly service, you need to purchase products in advance. All of these things are expenses, right? And so this is something that you need to track. How much money are you dishing out every month for this side hustle? Now, the other thing that you need to track is how much money is coming in. So if you are spending $200-$300 every month on your side gig, you need to be making $200-$300, hopefully more, because 2 or 3 will just break even, right? That's you paying yourself back from the money that you spent getting the tools that you needed to do your side hustle. And so you need to be making a profit. That is the very first indicator, is like, hey, okay, am I even making any money over what it's costing me to do this gig? And so something that might be a touchy subject that I'm going to talk about is a lot of us are attracted to network marketing ventures because they have low barriers to entry. And so let me just tell you, if you are joining a company because it only costs $99 to get in, that's the wrong reason to join. You need to, if you're interested in doing network marketing, it has to be something you know something about, right? I'm not going to buy jewelry from you and I hate your fashion sense, right? It doesn't make sense. You need to be in a place where you're willing to learn more about whatever your side hustle is. Just like if you have a clothing brand, like I saw somebody has a clothing brand up here. If you are not somebody who is fashionable, I'm not buying clothes from you. And so your side hustle has to be something that you are willing to learn more about the industry, hone your craft, and become a better business connoisseur of that space, because you need to be seen as an expert in this place so that people are going to respect your opinion, your authority on it. So, yes, all is well. Thank you so much for asking. So whatever your side hustle is, no matter the medium that you use, the platform that you use, it needs to be something where people respect you as a voice in that space.
The Wi-Fi network. You might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home app.
Sorry, y'all. My Google Home trying to connect to Wi-Fi. But yeah, so it has to be, you have to be a respected voice in that space. So, hey, John. Hey, Lamont. So, that's the very basics, the very bare minimum to making sure that you're even actually able to sell whatever product or service that is. Is this something that people think you know what you're talking about in that space? And so I'm glad to see that so many of us are thinking about, okay, how can I make extra income? How can I make some extra money? But not every opportunity is the opportunity for you. So, and I'll talk about this more in the course that I have, but you need to think about, okay, what are skills that you have that are existing? What are some things that you are interested in learning more about? Because you're going to need to want to study and learn more about that thing. Nobody wants to go see a doctor who is using practices from the 70s, right? They have to continually learn and get better in that space. And that's the same for you, whether it's your side hustle or not. You have to be current with the times. You have to understand what's going on and whatever that side hustle is. So I'm gonna hop off my high horse on that, but whatever space you are in, make sure that you are learning about it and you can become a trusted voice and that you can speak on that space. Because nobody is gonna buy anything from you if nobody believes that you know what is in that space. Social media management, but it's eating my pockets more than it's filling it. Okay, so Now, yeah, so we talked about the cash flow, money coming in and money going out. Now, another thing to know is that if you are just starting a business in the beginning, it's gonna cost you more than what it's making you. So the other piece of this is you have to analyze your effort. Are you putting in the energy required to get that return on your investment? There is no get rich quick when we are side hustling. Either you're gonna spend money on advertising and marketing to get your brand out there, or you have to spend time learning how to connect with people where you don't want to spend the money. So there's this continuum. The more money you spend on marketing, the more people you can reach that way. But the less money you're willing to spend, you have to invest more time building relationships and getting to know people on a lower level. Hey, Kirby. Hey, Gabby. So that you're able to connect and build with people. So if it is something that you are just starting, this is a brand new venture, you might only be a couple months in, I wouldn't say, hey, let's automatically assume this is not a good thing, because you have to build that muscle. Again, you're new in this space, you're new to being a business owner, so you have to, there's a learning curve there. There's things you have to understand about it. But if you've been in this game, you've been doing this side hustle for 2 years, and you know what I mean? Like you have friends and family that are side hustling and doing things, and it's not really making them any money. And so there are a couple reasons for that, and honest conversations need to be had. If they want to continue putting out whatever money they're putting out to do this side hustle, that's on them. But for you, what I would say is have an honest assessment. Is this a space where you're willing to learn more? Because if you are willing to learn more about whatever industry that you're in, hey, Jess, Philip, hey, then as you continually grow, you'll be able to educate other people. The more I can teach you about the space that I'm in, the more I'll be willing to buy from you, because I'm learning something. Because obviously you know what you're talking about. If you can't talk about it, why should I buy anything from you, right? And then honestly analyzing your effort. People not being realistic with themselves. I agree. And you know, sometimes we do stuff just to say, oh yeah, you know, I'm doing this on the side. We like being business owners. We do it. There's a sexiness to it, right? Oh, I own my own business. Okay, you own your own hobby. Because if it's not progressing in the direction where it's making you money, this is a hobby. This is for fun. And so that can be a hard transition. So some of the books I've been reading, you know, a lot of us are employee minded, and that is okay. That's what we were conditioned to do. We go through school, and they teach us how to be employees. They teach us how to do what other people tell us to do. But when you are your own business owner or a side hustler that isn't, you know, driving Uber or doing something for somebody else, even though you got to market yourself to be well in Uber too. But when you become your own business owner, you're responsible for making sure that there's revenue being generated so that you can pay yourself. And a lot of times we don't know what goes into being a successful business owner. We don't understand that there takes marketing, that it takes, you know, building relationships, it takes discipline, and it takes having an understanding of what your customers actually want. It's not good to look like you're winning and really losing. What do you mean by that? Hello, Miss Sarita. Just read that after 3 years with no profit. Oh, okay, we got a paragraph here. The government reclassifies a business as a hobby, limiting the tax benefits. Right, yeah. And so another thing too is a lot of people will say, hey, you know, you should start your own business, start your own LLC, because there's so many tax benefits to it. So sometimes a lot of us are doing that. Oh, well, let me get this business because I can write off some of my expenses on my taxes. And the whole time, these expenses that you're incurring are a waste of money. Because you're trying to get the benefits associated with owning the business, and you haven't done anything to produce additional income. So it was really a waste of money the entire time. Hey, Mark. Hey, Sophie, everybody. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions about, what are some strategies that you can, some quick things that you can put in place to take your side hustle to the next level, to really start to figure, okay, what should I be doing? I'll tell you that for me, something I started to do is to pretend like it was the very beginning. What can I do to learn more about the space that I'm in? How can I become a voice in this space? Even though I have a business background, business changes so much. I used to work for a bank. I used to work for an investment firm. So there's a lot that I do know that others don't know, but there's still always something to learn. What can you learn about your space that you can start to share with other people, so that you become a respected voice? And so this is something I talk about in my course too. We want to make sure that we are educating. And personally, what I believe is that you cannot be a business owner. You cannot ask for anybody's money for doing anything if you don't teach people stuff. You can't just say, oh, I got this t-shirt for sale. Why should I buy from you when there are literally millions of other people I can buy t-shirts from? Right? Why? What separates you from the other different t-shirt store owners? Is there something about you that, okay, I respect this brand? Well, what's the story behind the brand? Why should I support what you're doing? And so I think that's something that we really need to work on. Even though it's a side hustle, it's something you're doing in your part-time, you have to be more cognizant that the power is in your consumers' hands. Like, they don't have to spend their dollars with you. So just because it's your business doesn't mean I have to give you any of my money. And so if you want to earn people's respect, earn their trust, you need to teach them something so that it's bigger than just this paycheck, this come up that you're trying to have. At the end of the day, both parties, primarily your customer, needs to feel like they're winning. And if all they're walking away with is lost dollars, or not lost dollars because they're purchasing a product or service, but if all they're walking away with is money spent, chances are that'll be the last dime they spend with you. So make sure that you're continually teaching and pouring into whatever audience you're trying to reach, so that they respect what you do and they're willing to buy from you. But that only happens if you're willing to learn more about your space and continually growing yourself. Otherwise, you're just a voice in the void, like everybody else out here that is competing for the dollars. So I'm gonna take a moment to scroll. Hey everybody, Josh, Nicole. Hey Nicole, oh my gosh. All right, okay, so cool. The next thing I see, yes, we have to stop with this expectation that people support us just off stream. Listen, get over it. Get over it. There was a verse I was reading. It was talking about not being a prophet in your own land. And we have to remember that just because, we are growing in a space, a lot of people still see the old version of us. And so sometimes it takes continuously showing, continuously proving that, hey, I got this talent, I got this skill, and getting the support of strangers before people that are close in your circle can see the light, like, oh, wow, they've really changed. And so just because, people have known you 10, 15, 20 years, you can't expect support from anybody, because I can guarantee you there's somebody in your circle that you aren't supporting. And not because you don't care about what they're doing. It just might not be on the top of your brain to support what they're doing. Maybe it's just not something you're interested in. And so we got to get off of this, oh, it don't cost anything to repost, to share anything. How about you do some work? You get out here and network. You make people aware of your brand, so then they get excited about sharing what you're doing. You can't be bitter that people are not telling other people what you're doing. It's your job to tell people about your business. And so stop getting mad. But yeah, Jessica, that's a really good point. Khalil. Hey, Khalil. Thank you, Miss Sophie. I'm a super passionate person. We'll call it passion. It's anger transferred. Okay. How do you know what sources to trust when you're learning? Oh, this is good. Okay. So respected brands, things that have been around for a while. So obviously we don't want to get our information off of Wikipedia, right? So think about whatever industry that you're in and find the heavy hitters. So like for me, I like to get my money information from CNN Money, my business stuff, Forbes. These are the things that I'm going to look at often. And so I might even take a look at some of the top people in personal finance that a lot of people are gravitating towards. So like the Budgetnista, I look at her a lot, Part-Time Money, people like that. And I see, what are they talking about? What is the new trend? But it's gonna come from studying your industry. And so you'll figure out, okay, who are the hot voices? Who's being featured in the business space? And so that's how you can figure out, okay, this is a good source. Hey, Marilyn. Well, thank you, Mr. Mark Graham. I have teaching in my blood. But yeah, so hopefully this information that I've shared has been helpful. I talk a lot more about ways that you can monetize your side hustle in addition to whatever you're doing. So like if you have a clothing brand, well, what else can you do besides sell clothes? Well, have you thought about writing? Have you thought about a podcast? Have you thought about being a course teacher? So like in all of these things, I go into more detail in my course because we have to get out of the mindset that there's only one way to make money. There's so many different ways that you can package what's in your head and turn it into income. So if you have not already checked out my podcast, it's called My Last Dime. It is available on iTunes. But yeah, so it's finally up. That's My Last Dime. Episode 4 is called Side Hustle Culture. And so I definitely encourage you to check that out and really wrap your mind around different ways that you can start to make additional streams of income without having to trade time. So I talked a lot about being your own business owner, but even with the side hustles, working for other people. So I used to work track meets on the weekends sometimes. And it got to a point where I didn't feel like what I was making was worth my time. And so I would say, okay, if I'm only going to make $125 today, but they want me to work 8 hours, okay, how much does that break down to per hour? And if you get to the point where you are making like $7, $8, $9 an hour, then you have to start to think, okay, how much is my time really worth, right? Not all money is good money. Sometimes you could be making more doing other things. And so we have to get out of this. Okay, well, at least they're paying me. We got to get out of that habit and start to think about how can I invest my time in a way where I don't got to be there to make money. So that's a really important thing. So for those of us that your side hustle might be Uber or, whatever other things you're doing for other people, think about how much you're making for the time invested too. So this is not just about being your own business owner. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, it's my friend. Hey, Kiba. Okay, next question. How important is it to give space to take feedback from others? A person who has an idea or vision about something that they create may tend to be overprotective. Okay. So giving space to take feedback. So you got to be protective over your vision. What you have is not for everybody to know before it is birthed. And so what I mean by that is just because people are in your circle doesn't mean they need to know about the plans before you start implementing them, because you don't want them to kill your dream before you are strong enough to handle negative criticism. And so, and then too, you got to be mindful of who you take advice from. Not everybody you take advice from. You shouldn't take advice from everybody about everything. So like, there are things that I love my mama to death, but there are things from her that I won't take advice on because she just doesn't have any experience in that space. And there are other things like that's the first person I'm going to. So you have to be mindful of, okay, what experience do they bring to the table in this space? Can I trust what they're saying about this situation? Because not everybody can relate to everything. So you have to just be careful of who you take new ideas that are not completely fleshed out too, because you don't want people to kill something before you're strong enough for it to stand on its own. But yeah, that was a great question. And as far as being able to give constructive feedback, always, think about how can you improve or put life into somebody's dreams. You don't want to just go out and like stab the thing, right? Because that might be something that's going to bring about positive impact for a lot of people. That was your downfall, lesson learned. Yeah. They should have accomplished something you want to accomplish. True, or something similar. So, like for me, I have a business coach, and she's in a place where I want to be. And so I listen to what she says and sometimes I'm like, that don't make sense. So like recently, she was like, you're selling your digital products too low. And I was like, I thought this was excellently priced, right? But she's where I want to go. And so she knows the struggles I'm having, but she already had them. And so listening to what she says, I'm like, okay, cool. You've reached a position where I want to be. Now, the caveat to that is sometimes they may not have specifically gone the route, but they've been in spaces so they can see and identify, okay, you're experiencing this right now. I've been around somebody who experienced this too. But again, they can relate to that because they've been in those circles. But yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, so do y'all have any final questions for me? So just to recap, for those of us who might have missed the very beginning, we were talking about how to know if your side hustle was a money pit or not. And so basically what you want to do is figure out, okay, is this costing me more money than what I'm making? And if it is, did I just start? Am I growing as a person from it? Is there some tangible benefit I'm getting? And if I'm not, and I'm just here still the same as I was 6 months ago, you might need to consider doing something different. So the very first thing you should do is, honestly, you need to track your expenses. And I guess everything goes back to the money portion of it. But we have to understand, if we want to know how we're growing and if we're going to grow, you have to track the money. You can't tell if you're profiting or not just because, customers are buying. Customers might be buying, but okay, how much did you spend? Right? Like, that's important to know. And this is a fundamental part of running a business. You need to know your expenses. So how much is it costing you every month to do this side hustle? Okay. And then from there, you can figure out, okay, am I spending more than I'm making? And if I am spending more, how long have I been in this space? Does it make sense in this industry for me to spend more for this amount of time? Now, I'm going to tell you, a lot of businesses take 3 to 5 years to profit. But if this is a side hustle and not something you're working full time on, that can vary. And honestly, you shouldn't be doing something that's going to take 5 years to profit as a side hustle. It's not time well invested. And there's other ways for you to take your side hustle to the next level where it doesn't have to take you 3 to 5 years. So I really want us to get out of this. It takes 3 to 5 years to profit thing. It don't have to. It doesn't have to. Okay. So it looks like there are no more questions. If you want some more information about these topics, again, I mentioned my podcast. It's called My Last Dime. It's finally available on iTunes. It's on SoundCloud. Not SoundCloud. It's on Spotify, Google Play. Episode 4, the Side Hustle Culture, is what talks about this topic. You can also join my newsletter. I'll post these links. I don't know if I can at the end when I post this. And then you can get on the wait list for my side hustle course. It's going to open November 1st. So for those of you who may have missed the beta test, it will be open. I know y'all been emailing me, but I'm going to get that out for you guys. So hopefully this was helpful. If it was, please share, tell our people so that we can stop throwing away money when we don't need to. Because y'all know that's my mission. We're trying to stop throwing away money. We're going to close this wealth gap. All right. Y'all have a great Thursday, and I will see you soon.